fucked up.
Well, sir,
You fucked up, big boy.
You fucked up, big boy. You get that shit? Oh, you big fucked up. Big. Huge. Huge fucked up. I will bring you brutal, bitch.
Fucker, what the fuck you think?
You alright?
What you think about things?
Tell me. Give us your fucking perspective now.
What is reality?
Help us tell it.
Help us tell it.
We need
Here
knowing.
it is. Hold on.
I thought he was gonna fart too.
This is us.
This is Nori.
Nori.
Wish
This is Nori. George Nori.
This is us. Oscillating us.
We oscillate.
We oscillate around though,
Do we gravitate with ourselves?
as we flatulent.
Flatulent.
Free the flatulence.
Free the flatulence, for bewilder will never happen again if thine's mind is
Shut
resting
the fuck up.
upon the whispers of those credentialisms.
Get out of here with your credentialists.
I've been bewildered by the credentialisms of another employee for far too long.
I refuse to believe credentialism is real.
It happens when you exist slappingly.
No, only sideways can you see a Susan.
Well,
Slimely.
imagine yourself resting within the periodic development of nothingness.
In a
when
rustic time?
Yeah, when you flab, you have to imagine that floob just reacts the same way.
Well, no, because naturally if you flube, then it flabs.
True, but a flap is not determined by a flab.
Yeah, but the pre-flube, you're getting into gray areas here with the pre-flube.
You're right. Post and pre-floob is generally metaphor for this conversation, but we have to.
Post and pre-flube is what I mean by original context with
Are you
understanding.
really? Is that what you're trying to say? The original understanding is post and pre-floob rather than the now floob?
Have we flubed at all? Is really what we're
That's the
trying to
real question. Are we
To
actually
floob or
existent
not
in
to
floob?
get. Can we flube? Do we flube?
Do we floob
Have we
onward?
flued before? Have we flubed before? Is not relevant.
It's true.
Will we flube again? It's not relevant. Are we flubing now? Question.
Do we reside within the echo floob?
The echo flube.
The flutoplasm?
Yeah,
if you will.
if you flubo. Well,
Ask him. Congressman?
Congressman.
Secretary of State Ron Paulson, is that you?
Chairman.
Robert?
Oh, Condoleezza Rice?
Condoleezza sounds like a Mexican.
Dish.
Can't understand you.
Go back to your country. Wow, power.
What power? Oh.
Oh, that.
Colon.
Colin Powell.
Colon power.
Colin. I know. Colin Powell. That kid is going to go to the Secretary of State someday.
His name is Colin
He's
Powell.
gonna have a complex with his name.
He's very complex.
My dad named me Colin. I have a complex.
My dad named me Colin.
my fucking boss.
He's a harsh
name was
motherfucker.
Colin.
It was a harsh childhood.
What's up, Colin? What the fuck? That's your name?
He was
Are you sure it's not a representation of what you need to do next?
I'll tell you what. My boss, Colin. Assistant, Colin. Yeah.
He's been bewildered.
What, you have Colin?
I had a boss named Colin.
Was it Colin?
It was
Was
Colin.
it down?
It was
Are you
Colin.
sure it wasn't
yeah,
Colin?
we had to call him Colin.
We had
We had to call him Colin. His name was not Colin.
Shut the fuck up.
No, but he was an asshole.
Shut the fuck up.
Well,
But he was cool at the same time. Just
a cool?
Fucking,
He was a cool.
Oh, I thought you said he was a cool.
He was a cool.
He was a cool.
He was like cool. At the
Was he
same
a gay?
time.
He was a singular cool.
Profoundly. So,
That is pretty fucking profound if you think about it.
it's true. What do you think, George? And
Fucking found.
George?
Will it be
Are you still there, George?
George, are you still there?
talk about that for a moment? The
You got huge
interesting
eyes.
thing here is when you say
Cheeks are
something
barely
that
there.
may happen. Well,
Like a
that
portion of
event
his
may be
mustache to
natural.
everything else in his
It's true. It's
That
perfectly
may be
triangular.
a earthquake, like you say,
Look at the UFO.
Look at how the UFO enlightens your knowledge as you coast to coast.
potentially,
As you
you know, there's a lot of chaos in this world, and there's a lot of destruction
That's
in this
great
world.
because it
That
works
is
as a
not
verb
created by
and a
nature.
noun.
We can do it,
Verb and
you
noun.
know, and I gotta tell you, there are
Political
Verbatim.
phrase.
It's a politicalitarian term for the representation of
Political suicide. It's political suicide if you try to talk about floob in a society that doesn't exist.
Shut the fuck up.
Talk about
United
floob.
States.
Let's talk about floob, babe. Let's talk about you
And floob.
Oh, floob. Oh, floob. Oh,
You gotta ask Will. Tell us, George.
Enlighten us. On floob.
Well, you gotta think about it, Bill.
If floob were to exist,
It could only be counteracted by the measurement of how flatulence exists.
only through the space-time continuum ripple that would exist between 2 and the 6/4. The second membrane there.
Do you think floob is affected by the Taylor Swift fabric?
By the taste prime fabric? I'm not sure on that one. I'll have to check my notes.
Metaphysical, I know, but you have to come to terms with it.
You have to come to grips.
Son, listen.
the floob.
That is really what our generation is trying to come across with this new consciousness.
We have all been trying to encompass.
The one singular floob. We have all been yearning
Oh, that's
for. The one with the floob.
This floob just resides, you know.
The floob is all of us.
Don't mind my tears, because I'm really into this subject.
The floob moves me.
the floob.
I can feel the power of floob inside me. Vessel for
We are, though, floob, you know.
They feeling the smiles on their faces.
As floob, we must be responsible for what we do, though.
Are you responsible for your smile?
I only read
Do you realize you're smiling?
And it is because of floob. There's no doubt.
How the
Because
floob
of
has
floob.
bewildered you.
It is floob's will.
It is floob's will and thine smile.
Thine smile comes from within the floob.
It is only intrinsic in nature that floob must make one happy.
Oh, I love floob.
Where'd it come from?
little floob.
It is all. We are floob.
We are what is floob.
What is floob?
What
Alex?
is floob?
I'll take floob if I
We are.
What is floob?
What is floob, Alex?
We are. What is floob?
What is floob for 500? You should write that somewhere.
What?
I would like that. What is floob for 500? You have to ask everything in the form of a question, don't you?
Don't you?
Don't you?
That's a question.
You questioning me, boy?
By questioning me?
Ask me a question. Don't question me, though. Don't question what I say. Just ask me about something. Don't... Just go with it, though.
Just go with it when you ask me.
You just ask me and, like, take my answer for what it is.
Take your question from my answer.
Yeah. Can you answer a question with a question? Depends on what you're answering. Question.
Cool.
Is your name...
Oh.
Alright.
Floob.
should start that over.
I know I like your part a lot more.
Right.
I do.
Think about that.
I can tell you really. I can tell that.
Yeah, everlasting ding was bewildering me.
I can tell. I can see it in your face.
Two kids.
Like a dude.
Little red hole.
I couldn't hold it together after that. I couldn't hold it together after that.
You're making love to that flute, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for real.
Man,
That was
people are gonna
profound.
be thinking about that shit 20 years from now.
Explain that to your kids and smoke it.
Stick around. We're going to be back in just a moment. We'll continue talking. Zenith right here.
Zen.
The author of
Zach Zenathan.
Zenathan the Manic.
Coast to Coast. And welcome back to
Coast to Coast, I'm George Norrie. We're with Zenathan tonight. We'll take this later on as we talk about Journey to Truth. As you started your own journey to truth, was it difficult for you, or was it an easy journey to get to the truth?
It's a difficult journey for most people, and because it requires you to break down some existing belief system, and then you go through the stages of enlightenment, which are, first of all, denial, secondly, acceptance or realization that it's true. Then you usually go through anger and then depression, and then finally you pick yourself up and you accept the fact that it is true, and you change your belief regarding whatever it is that affected you, and you move forward. And that's what learning is. That's what life is about. And one of the things that has been learned about truth is that truth actually creates a physiological state in the human body, and people who are acting in truth and people who hear the truth actually, the energy and the biological feedback in their body recognizes it. It's kind of like we are human polygraphs in a sense. And, your earlier guest, when he finished his stint on your show, he ended with all of these great, statements made by famous people, like I didn't have sex with that woman,
Right.
and weapons of mass destruction, and I didn't inhale, and all of that. And the fact of the matter is that we hear these things, but even though we hear the words, we know in our heart that they're not true.
Yeah, I remember this episode.
And so in this journey to truth, in this metaphysical evolution, this path that we're on, we have to accept more and more truth as it's being revealed to us by all the technology.
How difficult is it in a time now where, people being bombarded economically, some losing their jobs, potential of food shortages, truly food shortages. How difficult is it to reach down to start believing in yourself and believing what you want to believe?
Well, my answer to that would be you really have no choice. Because, as Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. And what happens in today's world, one of the reasons that we're in the situation that we're in, is because people live outside their bodies, and they live outside their means, and they live outside their own truth. And if more people lived inside and took responsibility and lived their own life ethically and acted morally towards other people, the world would be a much better place. We could get to that Star Trek world. We could get to that age of Aquarius. But when you have people that are acting in very self-serving and very greedy, exactly.
Greedy.
This is what you get, and it's my point that the world that we have created, that we're living in right now with the current dynamics, it cannot survive. It is not going to make it into the future for one simple reason. There are just too many people now. In 1955, the world population was approximately 2.5 billion. By 2012, we will be at 7 people, and that 7 billion people, there's another 14 billion animals that are alive on planet Earth. And that is supporting so much more life than the planet is designed to handle.
My mother used to have one of those old pressure cookers she'd cook with. And those old things were heavy, but when they're ready to go, the steam came out of it, and it made that sound. And,
Talking about cars again, George.
If she had that thing tightened up, it would have blown up. And I like to use that analogy with what's going on this planet.
And so therefore, this whole idea of what's going to happen in 2012, everybody thinks it's going to be some kind of natural disaster. There's actually a greater potential for it to be something man-made.
I think so too, and I think I'm seeing signs of this unrest right now. Not only on an individual basis, but it breeds itself. It becomes a mass problem, doesn't it?
That's correct, yeah, and that's why in order to be the best citizen, and in order to be an evolved individual, you have to be an individual. I don't think that group thinking and highly socialized decision making comes out with the best decision, because I write about this in the book. There's a phenomenon that's called risky shift. The more people you get involved in decision making, the riskier they're willing to go. And we've gotten to the point now where we have groups of people that are so interested either in the bottom line or interested in staying in power that they have taken the riskiest options possible in order to ensure that.
Good point.
And they're risking all of our lives too.
That's because they don't care.
That's true. They're very self-centered.
You talk about those old pressure cookers she'd cook with, and those old things were heavy, but when they're ready to go, the steam came and it made that sound, and But if she had that thing tightened up, it would have blown up. And I like to use that analogy with what's going on this planet.
And so therefore, this whole idea of what's going to happen in 2012, everybody thinks it's going to be some kind of natural disaster. There's actually a greater potential for it to be something man-made.
I think so too, and I think I'm seeing signs of this unrest right now, not only on an individual basis, but it breeds itself. It becomes a mass problem, doesn't it?
That's correct, yeah, and that's why in order to be the best citizen, and in order to be an evolved individual, you have to be an individual. I don't think that collective, group thinking and highly socialized thinking comes out with the best decision, because I write about this in the book. There's a phenomenon that's called risky shift. The more
Risky shift? I think the theory for me is the more individuals you have in any gathering, the more objective you can look at any viewpoint originally.
What do you mean?
Any person can be more objective. He can't be as objective to him as I can be as objective to him. Only you can object. I'm only me. How can I really object to me?
Right.
So the more individuals you have in one area, I say that's less.
But I think what he's trying to say is that if everybody thought for themselves, naturally, we would be thinking about each other.
Oh.
Because if one, just like I can't change you. Just like what you're saying, I can't. Even if I had an objective viewpoint on you, I couldn't change you. So, the act of one.
So change yourself.
And to look for it in a group, or to be like in a group consciousness, trying to find it leaves more room for what he's saying is mistake and a higher amount of perceptions, which leads to the illusion of culture. I think that's what he's trying to get into, essentially, is
which is almost the counting of time. If you really want to look at it in that
Fine
yeah, if you want to get that specific, I mean, what is culture? Culture is the thing that is being acted out on the individual as the thing that's in principle as it exists.
Right.
Is the culture itself. And wow, that's
It's fine.
my point. Yeah.
And I think that's what he's trying to represent, and I believe that, and I believe that that's what I think is so important about that awakening as one. Is it's like, even like I always try to say this to myself especially when I'm smoking cigarettes. Think about like things that I wish to change, or things that I knowingly do that are counterproductive.
But can we say as a whole we are stronger than we are separate? I mean, we're stronger together than we are stronger together than we are separate.
That's not what he's trying to represent. What he's trying to represent is the need to find a group or look for that is already it's already there. By being the individual yourself,
to your question.
by being the individual and having the individual idea, or rather causality for sustainability and whatnot, then you would be perpetuating that value system, and you wouldn't, rather than relying on a whole group to coerce other people, essentially to coerce them into following your particular way.
If they want to continue surviving.
It's a form of coercion. It's like, look, I mean, it's not working this way, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no matter how you look at it.
Me and you are living this way. You might be living on that side of the fence, I'm living this side of the fence, but me and you are living this way.
Right, exactly. So no matter what side of the fence we're living, we're still living in that land that fence is
that
divided
needs to be
by.
changed,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever laws of governing that need to be.
The more people you get involved in decision making, the riskier they're willing to go. And we've gotten to the...
What I think he means by that, too, is as a group, knowing that you have more people to care about, you get more riskier because...
I see it as a group. It's with any movement, with like PETA, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's always an end. The means always justifies the ends.
Right.
That's the same thing for every group or individual.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So him saying that.
Ends justify the means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that saying means.
It means that. Really?
Yeah, I really don't, honestly.
Alright, like, perfect example, like, fucking, like, war. Is, like, perfect fucking little example for it. Fucking, ends justify the means, like, alright, well, fucking, like, World War II, fucking, we had a whole bunch of fucking casualties and had, blah, 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 destroyed fucking art and culture and fucking, thousands of years worth of culture and art and fucking human life. fucking millions of people died, but in the end, it was for the better.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know.
Just.
Yeah.
That's the way that it's viewed from and justify the means.
Right.
Point now where we have
That's hard
groups
to
of
say.
people that are so
Just
interested either
realized
in
that.
the
Good
bottom
job.
line or interested in staying in power, but they have taken the riskiest options possible in order to ensure that.
So that's what I thought he was trying to mean, you know, is that when you have more people involved to care about you, tend to get riskier with their lives because
Yeah, I
you're
thought he was
trying
going the other way with it.
because you're trying really.
I thought he was going like you're not necessarily trying to take care of him. I thought he was going in the direction where like
That's what I thought a little bit for a second too.
yeah, how, like is trying to like say that like fuck, I don't know how to put it.
Like we need to.
Well, when he
like-
says, what is he saying? Let's fucking tiny bit rewind that here. And see.
Like it's weird because it's
Groups of
somehow asked
people that are
backwards but
so
true. in a
interested
weird way.
either in the bottom line or interested in staying in power, but they have taken the riskiest options possible in order to ensure that.
Good point.
And
Let's
they're
talk.
risking and thinking highly socialized decision making comes out with the best decision because I write about this in the book. There's it's called risky shift. The more people you get involved in decision making, the riskier they're willing to go. And we've gotten to the point now where we have groups of people that are so interested either in the bottom line or interested in power that they have taken the riskiest options possible in order to ensure that.
I want to know what he means by risky. You know what I mean?
Like-
what, just like in what terms?
Like when he says bottom line, meaning like, for example, when movements or groups of people try to say this is what, you know, like this is it, this is what we have to do, this is the bottom line.
Mhm.
And you make, I don't know exactly what he's trying to say. I had it for a second in my mind.
This in the book, there's a phenomenon that's called risky shift. The more people you get involved in decision making, the riskier they're willing to. And we've gotten to the point now where we have groups of people that are so interested either in the bottom line or interested in staying in power that they have taken the riskiest options possible in order to ensure that.
The bottom line, he's talking about like capitalistic terms.
Well,
the bottom line, you know.
Or we're like, well, I perceive it as bottom line is like, because he's talking about groups in general, people
yeah, whether
that.
it be whether it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
whether,
it's their,
wow.
you know,
Right, but
whatever it is
being-
that they're about.
Their bottom line that they pay principal to is a form of like coercion in a group. I gotta keep listening.
Good point.
And
Let's
they're
talk.
risking all of our lives too.
That's because they don't care.
That's true. They're very self-centered.
You talk about various steps and stages in order to survive this
I'm not really
metaphysical
cool with the they
evolution.
talk.
Let's go through some of them.
Right,
Tell me
because
what
it's
they mean.
Us,
All right,
well,
us,
yes,
them,
go ahead.
we,
The
them,
first one that I want to
yeah,
really
distinction.
make
So-
sure I get the point across is what we have learned about the human body that really changes the way we look at life. And, myself being educated in mathematics and in a lot of philosophy, you pretty much become the rationalist and you hear, I think, therefore I am. Everybody that. Well, in reality, thinking and the functions of the brain are actually secondary. Now, let me go through this a little bit. When we are growing as babies, we grow. Here's an interesting fact: when the egg is fertilized by the sperm, we start growing, and we grow at such a rate in the first 7 days that if we continue that rate of growth, we'd be the size of the sun. But we slow down because the organs become more specific, the tissue becomes more specific, etc. It gets more complex. Okay, well, at 19 days, the heart is developed enough to start beating. So the heart actually starts beating first at 19 days, and then the brain continues to develop until approximately 90 days or 100 days, and then the brain begins to function. Okay? And up until 20 years ago, every science body what to do. The brain controlled the heart. The brain controlled the functions of the body. And the largest nerve ending between any two body parts is the nerve channel between the heart and the brain. Okay? But in recent years, in the last 10 years, we can study the electronics and the nerve signals that are going through the body, and we actually know which direction the signals are running, and we can even decipher to a certain extent what communication is being told to the receiving end. Okay? And lo and behold, they found that 70% of all of the communication is the heart telling the brain what to do, and that the brain is actually secondary to the heart.
Wow.
And then the other interesting fact is that, you know, we produce energy. Our bodies produce energy, and our right brain and our left brain produce energy, and our heart produces energy. Well, the brain produces a fairly static amount of energy. And, you know, another thing I'll point out is we're only using, you know, less than 10% of our brain capacity, which is another metaphysical evolutionary objective. But the heart is capable of producing 60 times the electric energy as the brain, okay? And because of that, the heart actually has the ability to reprogram the synapses firing of the brain in a split second. And the phenomenon of falling in love and that whole idea of love at first sight, that explains that phenomenon. Okay? Well, now, when we know that we're actually heart motivated more than we are brain motivated, now doing things that are good for your heart, that make you feel good, that, you know, like if you really have your heart into something, it's so much easier to accomplish. It's so much easier to do it.
And you're even good at it.
And you're, because it's a natural state. You're in balance. Your body's more in harmony when you listen to your heart and you listen to your instincts. One great example of instincts is in the earthquake or the tsunami that hit Thailand and Africa a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Even though there were 250,000 people killed, there were absolutely no animals killed.
The animals knew what was happening. They headed for the hills.
They headed for the hills. That's exactly right.
What was it? What's the instinct within them that gives them that? Do you think it's they felt vibration, or is it something more intuitive?
That no
well,
animals
these
were killed
are
in
the
that.
mysteries. They're, you know, even though science knows all this stuff about the physical world,
maybe the vast majority of them did know something was about to happen,
but exists in the metaphysical world.
To say that no animals.
Well, no, yeah, I think what they were more or less trying to represent is that you didn't see a profound, like a lake.
No, I know what he's trying to. Yeah,
even the full potential of our own body.
But he didn't represent it wrong.
Because saying, no animals were.
Right, he represented it wrong with his words.
You know, we've now been studying gurus and Tibetan monks for approximately 20 years, and studying different parts of their brain and how they function and how they're different from average people. And the fact of the matter is, they are scientifically different. They have scientifically evolved their brain, and they're a much higher level of vibration. And everybody should be on that path. Everybody should be taking that journey.
What about spirit and soul? How does that affect any of this?
Well, you know, that's another mystery regarding the heart and the brain. Okay, you the facts and then an interpretation. The fact of the matter is that they have put every kind of electronic recording device around a pregnant mother at the moment that the heart starts beating, and the one thing that they have determined is the electric pulse that starts the heart beating does not come from the mother, nor does it come from the baby, nor does it come from anything surrounding them.
Where does it come from?
Well, there's an excellent question. And then the second thing, the same is true for the brain. The brain, 1 minute, is completely inert, and then a split second later, it is fully functioning, not only functioning with thoughts, but also with dreams and recollections and instincts. Okay, and that energy, that information, or whatever you want to call it, does not come from the mother, and it does not come from the body of the baby. So I will tell you what the Buddhists believe. The Buddhists believe that the heart is started beating when the source or spirit or God, whatever you want to call it, enters the body.
Enters the body.
And that the brain starts functioning when your soul enters your body.
And how ironic, when the soul leaves, you die.
And not only do you die, but you instantly weigh 21 grams less.
Yeah, that's true.
And they have actually done tremendous amounts of research on that, and they still cannot explain what that 21 grams is.
Are you now a believer, and I assume you are, of the hereafter, the other side?
Well, certainly entities exist in different, shall we say, vibrational realities or different dimensions. Some people have the ability to communicate with, and most people are completely ignorant of. That's part of the metaphysical realm.
They do that, dude. I talked to somebody around here, basically, who says he does that all the time.
You've got to
I
ask
just don't know how to
yourself,
talk with him about it because
what is it?
No, that
What is
guy.
it out there that
Says all that
allows
crazy
this to occur?
long spiels about
Yeah,
metaphysical
correct.
shit.
What is the divine
He says that he channels
intelligence
crazy shit
or
like this.
whatever that made
I try to
it
listen to him, but I can't understand
we are
it, so
made
I
of
can't
stardust.
go on about it because I don't.
If it wasn't for
I could,
meteors
like,
hitting
Rapunzel
our
let down her
planet,
hair. You know what I mean? Like,
for
I wouldn't say that, but what I'm trying to represent is the fact that I could just bust out anything, and
I mean,
how could he have an
true,
answer for
I
it? It's
guess,
so profound.
that
And
the stardust that we are made of, which is about 14 billion years old, is in us now. In theory, we have 14 billion years old of material in our system, don't we?
Well, the universe is 14 billion years old. That is correct. The Earth is only approximately 4 billion years old.
we know.
But yeah, I mean, if the assumption is that some entity started, then yeah, we are the sum total of 14 billion years of evolution. And my point is that we're not doing a very good job getting to the next level.
No. And I know I was beginning to feel old, but now I really feel old.
Oh, come on.
How do people... I'm going to have you next hour give us some tips on how they can start tuning themselves up to do something.
Okay, all right.
Because I think that's important. And then we'll get back to the Mayans again, and as you said, the Chinese Hopias. They all seem to say the same thing about this time period, this incredible time period. Tell me about the work in Journey to Truth. Why'd you write the book?
Well, I wrote the book out of a frustration with, just put simply, this lack of evolution. The fact that the world is really being built on lies, and that is not healthy and it's not sustainable. And, as we grow older and we watch things happen and how they develop and how they play out, you can really see the truth in things. And ourselves, you and I, we were kind of born right at this beginning of the high-tech revolution and, have seen us go from, the first desktop computer to cell phones to CDs to DVDs, and quite honestly, the technology explosion, which ultimately led to the internet and where we are now, has really
that's crazy.
shortened
Think about
the
that.
time of communication.
Fucking, it took them like over 100 years to get from fucking
This is bullshit.
harnessing electricity to just fucking putting it into a light bulb, and fucking in the past 10 years we've gone from, fucking computers that are, with fucking desktops of little fucking,
Right,
micro
smaller and
technology.
smaller. Yeah, nanotechnology. Yeah, and that's kind of what's
That's
cool about that
fucking
awakening
crazy.
as one to me, when they say higher vibratory rate and more
Yeah.
activity than ever before. being existent on Earth, like, is how many...
Everything seems to be progressing faster
Even
and faster.
time, yeah, like, and notice how when you turn 18 and things start to move
No,
faster,
dude,
and,
I'm
like,
fucking...
there's this whole theory behind that it's called the quickening.
That's the
Yeah.
quickening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I was trying to explain that to fucking Sarah, and I couldn't.
Yeah, I've actually heard that time is actually, like, because fucking the universe expanding and everything, fucking time is fucking getting faster and faster.
Stretching across, yeah.
You know,
I don't know, it's weird to think about.
it is. It's
Bro,
happening right
don't try to
now.
get in my mind.
Right
No, I'm
fucking
I'm trying to get in my
I'm
mind.
fucking for
right?
real, dude. Think about it, though. Think about what...
Yeah,
The
tell me
possibilities.
that I'm
No,
thinking.
about what-
Sure,
Seriously,
tell me.
think about what the meaning and the what that's trying to say. You have to think about it so profoundly as to think about it this way. This is what really fucks my head up. Is that the basis of the thought itself and the existence of everything that maybe we with metaphysical ideologies and that is all based off of a single thought, like a single organism trying to figure out its own...
Figure out its own existence.
Yeah, so like...
It's on Floob.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so...
We've created a whole universe based on us trying to understand ourselves.
Yeah, and so that's what's kind of fucking cool. Presenting of the quickening being the beginning, the starting of the ending, which represents the beginning again.
Wow.
But beginning again, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's supposed to be. 2012 being okay.
Well, that's what the Mayans never
Yeah.
said that 2012 was. It was
Yeah.
a new beginning.
So
Yeah.
that-
Cycle-
that
they
may have
their
believe
calendar
that
was a
time is
circle.
cyclical.
Yeah.
They believe that time is cyclical.
Yeah.
And time wasn't linear like how we see
Right,
it now.
right.
There's a rock in like Mexico or something that said that.
No,
dude. It was on
yeah.
the news. It was
That
on, it was
fucking
on, like
makes
CNN.
more sense than
And I was like,
anything.
what the fuck? How are you guys thinking it's going to be the end of the world when you're talking about they have a rock in Mexico that says it's the end of the age. That's why we
Yeah.
stopped there.
Right. That's fucking...
Yeah, like their calendar doesn't even end.
No,
on
they're all
2012.
circles. And
That's-
even
yeah.
each
Yeah,
each
it all
That's
goes...
just the end of the 13th Baktun.
What? What's Baktun?
They have the tunes, the Katuns, the Baktuns. This is all on the long count calendar. They have I don't know exactly what the increments are, but they're measurements of time. Tunes,
months, years,
tunes,
blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
and yeah. But yeah.
Wow.
Because we have to remember that our whole calendar is based off of theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The existence of time is based off of their perception of time. So people tend to... That's why I can't let go of it. Because it's a variable